So we just talked about backlinks, right? So how is the quality, right, of the backlink gauged? So what does that mean? What do I mean by the quality of the backlink, right? So not all backlinks are created equal, not all reach the same potential, right? So there's, that quality factor matters when you're ranking for SEO, for if you're at the top or not. The quality really, really, really does matter. You can have a million of them, and if nobody ever goes to them, what's the point, right? Google doesn't really care after you've, so that's the problem. We'll cover how to do that, what weights they put on it, why they don't, they don't explain the formula exactly, but they talk about it, right? What it means again. So think about the situation, think about the scenario, right? And the roles people are playing in it. So Google is what's called an appraiser, right? They have to rate something really cheaply, fast, because there's a lot of data. There's a huge number of data, and it just keeps on going up and up and up on the internet for things to be appraised, with backlinks especially. So what does the appraiser look for, right? Put yourself in their shoes. What am I looking for when I'm rating a backlink, right? First, I want to see if it's genuine. You want to see if it's fake. Well, fake and genuine are the same thing. You want to see if people go to it, if it's popular, if it's not popular, where it's coming from. Are they popular? So let's get into more of that thing other than the rules. Let's actually look at what adds value to the backlink. So once again, backlink is just kind of a vote of trust from another website. So what adds, is the authority. So do you have, or do they have, not respect, professionals? Are they this or that? Do they have, why do they know it? How do they know it? That's more of the how is the authority. Are we actually sure, right? And then one that's been gaining is relevance. So that's that keywords again, right? But it's relevance from your site to their site. How connected are they? And is there a purpose for it, right? And then you have trust. Last but not least, in the big three, is are they trusted? Are you trusted? Trust in general. It's not really that narrow. They just talk about trust. How like major news and universities and governments have a lot of trust, and that can actually really help you. But you also have to look at, the anchor text as well. So what do I mean by anchor text? What is on the text? What is on the link in front of it, right? So on a website you'll see like click here, that's the anchor text. And why is it that, if it's just your name, that's not going to really do anything. But if it's like, this is a scam, I don't know. There's a lot of different things it could be. So Google also has a really good fake checker, right? So the fake backlinks, they get filtered out. I don't know exactly how, or I would probably be doing it. But basically what happens is something gets flagged. That's a flag. So it gets flagged, then it gets moved to the AI. Then after the AI thinks yes or no, it moves to a human. And then they have that ultimate decision on if it's fake or not, if it's real. So that goes back to the fake. Is it fake or not? And then, of course, the fake ones are just... And if there's enough of them, your account will get flagged, and then your account will get reviewed. And then, that's a really, really bad thing to have your account flagged for Google, right? They're not going to rank that highly if they think you're, like, cheating the system. Why would they? So there aren't really any, like, numbers in the back end. Right? There's not just like one score for a backlink. It's a bunch of different things. So you have to understand that backlinks are holistic, right? They take in context. They take in basically everything they can. So they're just not one score. If there were just one score, it would be really easy to get an understanding of it and abuse it, right? And that's why it's not. It's a lot of different scores to put together. Of course, they're weighted, right? So some things like relevance are really heavily weighted. At least recently it's been shown that. And I'm sure there's like some people who just made up numbers and put it on a website somewhere, but how am I supposed to trust that? You know what I mean? I want it to come from Google or a really big presence, and be backed by something. I can't just have, I'm saying like, 50% is this or that. And there's my cat. Hey, Marcus. All right. Anyways, so why you can't game it, right? So why you can't fake it? So why is it difficult to fake, right? So there's a lot of different things that go into this, right? It's just the process Google has is really, really refined, right? They've been doing it for so long. And then there's that unfakeable ones too. that if you don't have those unfakeable ones, oops, sorry, this is unfakeable anyway. If you don't have that unfakeable ones, then that's going to look suspicious as well. So it's really difficult to fake it. Next, we'll go into some myths, right? And why gaming system doesn't work, because it takes time too. You can't just see that instant result. You don't know if this thing worked or if a different thing worked. Anyways, the myths we're getting into. A high domain authority link is always great, not always. Those are kind of accurate and not accurate. That's just one part of it, and those scores aren't everything, right? More links equals higher ranking, not always. Quality, remember quality over quantity sometimes, especially if they're like fake links. So every junk link, who cares, right? You don't have to like remove them. If Google thinks that you paid for it, remove them. But if not, it's okay to have them. They're not hurting anything. So from a famous site, it doesn't really matter. If it's not relevant, if it's not this or that, it can help, but it's not, and you can try to raise your authority score, but it'd be difficult. You're not supposed to really like mess with the scores just to see how it is. React maybe, but not like change your entire plan over that score. And so cheap links aren't always best, right? And it takes time. Like you can't just do it overnight. So next you want to go through and do a checklist. So do a checklist on what, right? So you want to do a checklist on how Google's perspective, right, as the appraiser, would go through your site and rank it or rate it, right? So how would they rate it? What are the different categories? So you got to go into this, and I would suggest writing it out just so you can analyze that. Every time I write something out, I think about it again, which is difficult sometimes when you're talking, especially when you don't just want to say what you're writing out. But actually writing it can help commit it to memory. So let's before we end the video, right, let's go over it again really quickly. So we got that appraiser, right? The quality really matters to SEO, and that appraiser is Google, and they're trying to do it in a cheap, fast way because there's a lot of them, and there's, it doesn't add any value for their SEO. I mean, being at the top and people using it and all that data and everything adds value, but you yourself, it could be from anybody, they don't care. So adds value. What adds value? The authority, the relevance, trust, anchor text. What is it? So the fake ones get, they get flagged. AI goes through, checks them out. After AI is done checking it out, a human looks through it. Does the human think it's good? No. Okay. Then that link's going to be removed. If you get enough of those removed, you're going to be in trouble as well. So the process is really holistic. There's not like one number just to focus on. There's a lot of different things. Your site, their site, how close are they related? How close are they not related? How many links do they have? How many links do you have? There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And then it's really difficult to fake things because Google's process has gotten so good with all of this different stuff, right? So it's almost unfakeable. And those unfakeable ones that are out there, if you don't have any of those, it's going to look really bad, right? Because Google can really tell. And then there's a checklist, right? So create that checklist, get everything done on that checklist, and then report back, see what you have to change, see what you have to do, and just be honest with yourself, right? Because if you're not honest, that's not hurting anybody but you. All right, so get those things done. Get good quality backlinks. Don't just settle for any